Community and CSI India.
Now I would request sir to kindly take over the session.
Ritesh sir, unmute करिए.
Hello, Ritesh sir.
I'm audible.
You can. Okay,
Audible.
okay. Your voice is not coming, sir.
Now it is coming. My voice is coming.
Ritesh sir, your voice is not coming.
Now it is coming or not?
Achha, achha, achha.
Yes,
I
sir.
am.
Now it is audible.
Yes, sir, now it is audible.
I'm
Okay,
audible.
okay, sir, audible.
Okay.
You can proceed, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Manisha.
Hmm.
The slide is visible to you, Manisha. My screen is visible. Presentation is visible to you. I'm audible. Hello, Manisha. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
My screen is visible. My PPT is visible to you.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay.
Your
So I'm.
screen is visible, sir.
So myself, Dr. Ritesh Srivastava. I'm associate professor in CSE department of Golgota Engineering College. First of all, before starting my topic, I would like to thank Professor Shailesh Tiwari sir, Director ABS EC Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Uh, I'd also like to thank Amit Sinha sir, Dr. Amit Sinha sir, HOD IT Department ABS EC Ghaziabad, and Dr. Anish Gupta sir, Professor IT Department ABS EC Engineering College, ABS EC Engineering College, Ghaziabad. I'd also like to thank all the team which have done very wonderful effort to make this FDP successful. So my topic of presentation is data stream mining. So what is data stream mining? I will start with this. First of all, just I am showing my content to you all, what I will deliver in this topic. So I will just give a brief introduction on data stream mining. Then I will come to concept of mining and online learning and incremental learning. Most commonly used methods for data stream mining, types of concept drift, application of data stream mining, and I will show you some experimental result related to this topic. So, so what is data stream mining? Before going to data stream, I'm just giving you a basic definition of data mining. What is data mining? Because data stream mining is a collective word which is made up of data mining and data stream mining. So you all know that what is data mining is all about. Data mining is an approach for mining novel and interesting hidden pattern from huge data. So we are using this data mining into data stream. So what is data stream actually? So we are aware of various data sets in machine learning. We have worked through various data sources which are static in nature basically. But in this topic, I would like to explain what is the difference between conventional machine learning and the machine learning which have been applied to data streams. So there is a huge difference between what we have applied on what we are applying on the static data set as well as what we are applying on dynamic data set. So before going to this, let's have a example of data stream. Suppose there is a source which is generating data continuously with time. Some data source which is continuously generating data with time, and we have to apply some kind of analysis on that data source. So what we can do, we can't apply the things directly that we can apply on the static data set. We have to do some modification in the existing algorithm. So the problem with this data stream is that we are not having all the data stored in the memory. We have to apply some algorithm, modified algorithm, while classifying or doing any kind of other analysis on the data streams. So as I have already told, that data streams are the data generated by some sources continuously with time. So what is actually what we have to do with data stream? We can do classification, we can do regression, we can do other kind of analysis with data stream. So what is offline learning? Offline learning is quite similar to that conventional machine learning which we are doing day-to-day life, while performing some experiments on data sets like iris data set or breast cancer data set or some static data set. So what we are doing in offline learning, just have a look on this diagram. I'm drawing it by my pen. So suppose you are having a data set X, which is static in nature, and what we are doing, we are applying some learning algorithm to this data set, learning algorithm L to this data set, and we are trying to classify some incoming new instance based on the learning of this existing data set. So this is not the case with the data stream mining. Actually, in offline learning, what we are doing, we are having so many things to do. In offline learning, we are having all the data with us, which we want to classify, and we can learn all the data simultaneously at the same time. But this is not the case with the data stream. Data streams are imposing some challenges while applying machine learning to the data streams. So offline learning is quite different and conventional approach of machine learning, whereas the data stream mining requires some new approach for machine learning on which we can do the learning in runtime, as well as we are more interested in doing online learning. So there are various difficulty involved with the data stream mining actually, which is not with the conventional methods of machine learning. In data stream can be classified into two data streams. One is like a uniform data stream where the concept under the data stream doesn't change with the time, whereas another way to classify the data stream in which the data are generated and the underlying data distribution of the data stream changes with the time. So in the later case, we are having some problem while classifying the data, and such kind of changes in the underlying data distribution is also referred as concept drift. So what is concept drift? Whenever there is a change in the concept of the underlying data distribution of the data stream, then we have a concept of concept drift. Whenever concept drift arises, our system fails. It gives us low accuracy as compared to static data set. So we have to manage such kind of thing in concept drifting data streams. So what we need actually for mining data stream, we need online learning mechanism for classifying data stream. As you can see in this figure, there are two ways, like online learning or incremental learning. We have to learn the data one by one, and we have to, based on the historic data, we have to learn our classifier, and we have to predict the class of upcoming new instance. So in this diagram, it is very clear that this is a data stream. This is a data stream which is generated by any source in the time t to time say you can say time 0 to time n, and we are trying to learn this thing, that what will be the class of the new coming instance in the time stream. So as you can see, we are using this part of data as a data for learning the classifier, and we have to apply this learning, this historic learning, to classify this new instance. So this is what is called online learning. We are learning side by side, and we are classifying the new upcoming instances with the time. So in this kind of learning, there are some restrictions evolved with the machine learning algorithms. We will see it later. So since the concepts are changing, sometime it will happen that we have learned something from previous history, like from here we have learned some concept, but the new data arrive with some new concept. So we will not be able to classify the new data accurately. Like this data, we can't be able to classify accurately because the concept get changed. So we have to have such kind of mechanism in our algorithm, so that if some changes in the underlying data distribution arises, we have to take care of this thing so that our accuracy doesn't fall to certain significant level. We have to maintain our accuracy as much as possible. So what are the characteristics we should have in online learning mechanism? So in online learning mechanism, it should support one pass learning. What is one pass learning? Like in conventional machine learning, we are having a data set stored in memory. We can apply iterative kind of learning for that data set to exploit the data distribution within the data, so that we can do our prediction more accurately. But whereas in online learning it is not possible, because we have to scan all the data only once. So this is the main difference between conventional learning, offline learning, and online learning. So we are bound to have only single pass kind of a scan for online learning as compared to our conventional approach. So any algorithm which is supporting online learning should support one pass learning. We can't be iterative in this approach. So another thing is low memory requirement. We can't be able to store all the data at once in the memory, because the data is very big and it is also continuously generating with respect to time. So we can't do this kind of storage of all the data in the memory as we are doing for conventional machine learning approaches. So this is also the difficulty involved with the online learning process. And this can be easily understood by having some example, like suppose we are having a student which to whom we want to teach him mathematics. So either we can give a book of mathematics to the student to learn all the concept of the mathematics at once, or we can give some question to the student one by one, so that he can evolve and he can learn incrementally all the concept of the mathematics. Like suppose we can have addition problem of mathematics, we can have subtraction problem in mathematics, we can have multiplication problem in mathematics, and we can have a division problem in mathematics. So we can have such kind of example, we can pass on such kind of example to our student who is willing to learn mathematics one by one, instead of giving all these things at once to the student. So what we can do, we can give some example of addition to the student. He will do practice on addition, and then we will give some problems on subtraction to the student, and he can do some practice on subtraction problem. Similarly, we can give multiplication kind of thing to the student, and he can do multiplication problem to achieve the result of the problem. Similarly, he can do division. So what we are trying to do over here, we are just giving some addition problem, then subtraction problem, then multiplication problem, and then we are giving division problem to him one by one, not at once. Like we are giving, as I've already said, that we are not giving a complete book of mathematics to the student. We want him to learn one by one. So in this way, what he will have advantage, that if he don't know, like first problem we have given to him is 1 plus 1, do the addition of 1 plus 1. So if he is able to do 1 plus 1, then we cannot allow him to learn again what is 1 plus 1. We can only give another problem like 2 plus 3 for addition. So while doing 2 plus 3, what he will do, if he is giving the answer correct, then we will not bothered about this thing, that he is not able to learn the addition. Then we will change the problem and subsequent steps one by one. And if he is not able to solve the problem incrementally, then we only repeat the problem. So in this way we can do the online learning. So it should be adaptive also. It should be adaptive means, suppose we are giving problems of mathematics to the student, and suddenly we are having some problem of physics again. So he should be adaptive to solve the mathematics problem as well as. So in such kind of learning, what he will do, the student or the learner will do, he will take the problem one by one, and he will subsequently move to the new domain problem, like from mathematics to physics, and then chemistry and so on. So in this way he can manage the things incrementally. And it should be order independent. It should be not like first he has to learn mathematics, then he has to learn physics, then he has to learn chemistry. He can learn in any order. So it is also like the learning algorithm should not be order dependent of the sequence of the observations. So the thing I'm again repeating in the different form, that online classifier should have following qualities. Like it should be incremental in nature. It should be incremental in nature means it should read the data one by one, not all data at once, because we have to analyze the insight of the problem. What is the problem? What is the problem we are facing inside the data that we have to analyze? That is why we are allowing the learner to learn all the problem incrementally, one by one. It should be not a single pass, as I have already explained that it should be a single pass algorithm. Single pass means it should be not be iterative in nature. So next is limited time and memory. It should not be delayed for infinite time. The algorithm should not be delayed for infinite time means it should give the result in some desired amount of time. It should not take more than 1 hour or 2 hour time, depending on the problem, how much time it will take, but it should be finite time. It should be solved in the finite time. And it should be anytime learning. It should be not like that. The algorithm should give the best possible answer even when stopped in between without the conclusion. So it should be anytime learning. And very important thing is it should have forgetting mechanism. Forgetting mechanism is like, since we are restricted to memory, we can't learn all the concept present in the data stream. So we should have some concept of forgetting mechanism by which we can drop or outdated concept exist in the data stream for learning new concept, because memory, it is restricted to the memory. So forgetting mechanism is very, very important, and generally we utilize such kind of forgetting mechanism by dropping some old concept which are not readily required for future data. So there are 4 most commonly used methods for data stream mining. One is conventional method. We all know what are the conventional methods of machine learning. This is like just having basic algorithm without having modification and just applying it to data streams by assuming that it will also work with the data stream as it is working with static data. So in the conventional algorithm, we all know that we are having various popular algorithms like SVM, NBA, logistic regression, and so on, nearest neighbor, and so on. So we are just applying these algorithms by hoping so that we will get some good result for data stream also. But it is really not true for data stream. That conventional methods, I will show you in, if time will permit me, I will show some experiment on MOA that conventional methods are generally not suited with for data stream mining. So we are having, although we are having so many things, we can use some variation of these algorithms for data stream mining. So another approach for data stream mining is methods with drift detection. That is, drift detection method should be explicitly mentioned in the algorithm, where we should be able to identify that whether the drift is occurring in the concept change is occurring in the data stream or not. If the concept drift or concept change is occurring in the data stream, then we have to learn and we have to do some modification in the algorithm. So this is one of the widely used way to classify or to do data stream mining, which is a drift detection method. Another method is window-based technique, which is windowing technique, in which we are using some sliding window of fixed size, as well as we can use some variable size also, depending on the application, whether we are having fixed size is suitable for the application or we are having variable size suited for the application. And there are also some mathematics involved with deciding whether we have to take fixed size or variable size. I will explain this issue later. So another way is windowing technique. Another very important method for data stream mining is ensemble method. Ensemble method is very popular method in not only in data stream but also in conventional machine learning approaches, in which we are having some set of weak learner and we combine them, and we combine the result of these weak learner and aggregate them by using some rules, voting rules like majority voting and other rules to draw the conclusion from the data set for any unseen data. So this is what I have explained, that data stream mining approach can be classified into 4 categories: conventional approach, drift detection approach, windowing technique, and ensemble technique. So here is a diagram showing a simple ensemble approach in which we are having a data set and we are learning the data set with L number of distinct component classifier, and we are giving some weight W1, W2 to the component classifier. We are at the last we are aggregating the result by adding up these results, and we are making some decision on the data which we are having with the data set. So this is a simple example of ensemble approach. So what is concept drift? So generally data stream can be uniform, as I have already told you that data stream can be uniform or it should be dynamic in nature. Generally, most of the real world examples like real world data generating source like IoT and social networking sites or stock exchange, they are generating the data stream with the concept drifting data. So in the concept drift, what happened, the underlying data distribution changes with respect to time. So it will decrease the performance of the classifier whenever concept drift occur. So concept drift can be broadly classified into various categories like sudden drift, gradual drift, incremental drift, and recurring drift, and abrupt drift. So what is sudden drift? In sudden drift, we are having the change in the concept very suddenly. Very suddenly means like suppose we have given a problem of mathematics and suddenly we have given a problem of physics to a student. So in that context, the concept change suddenly. So he has to recall the concept of physics whenever this kind of concept change in concept occur from mathematics to physics. Similarly, in gradual drift, the concept changes very slowly, and the learner will get enough time to cope up. Similarly, in the incremental learning, the concept changes continuously. Continuously means there is a difference between gradual and incremental drift. In gradual drift, the concept is changing slowly. Like suppose we are having a window of 10 instances in which all 10 instances belongs to class C1, and after time t0 we have incremented the window by 5 instances, and in that again we are having 10 instances in the window in which say 6 belongs to class C1 and 4 belongs to class C2. Similarly, if we moving forward with the time, then we are again having some like a window of 10 instances in which we are having say 6 instances of C2 class and 4 instances of C1 class. So in that case, we are changing the concept gradually, not incrementally. But in incremental changes, the intermediate classes will also arises. Like we are having a problem of mathematics, simple addition or subtraction with us, and suddenly we are having some some problem related to physics, which can be also solved by using the basic formula of mathematics. So in that case, we are incrementally changing from concept of mathematics to concept of physics. Another very important kind of drift is reoccurring drift. In the reoccurring drift, the class reappear itself. Like suppose we are having festivals in a year. We are having Christmas, or we are having New Year, we are having Diwali. So what will happen? Every year these events will repeat itself. And if we consider an example of social networking site, whenever we are having Diwali or we are having Christmas, the words related to wishing of these festivals increases with a decided period of time. Like in Christmas is celebrated in 25th December. So we are having words related to Christmas in this duration, and again after 1 year we will have again such kind of words related to this thing. Another kind of drift is abrupt drift, which is very difficult to classify, and we don't know any reason for such kind of drift. And most of the real world example falls under this category. We don't know when any concept will change, what is the reason behind the changing of the concept, and we can't do anything. So we have to be very careful about such kind of drift, because we don't know the reason, and our classification accuracy drops significantly for such kind of drifts. Here is the pictorial depiction of drifts. So as you can see that in sudden drift we are having one concept in blue and one concept in red. So we are suddenly changing from blue class to red class as time evolves. So this is sudden drift. So whatever we have learned over here for this from these dataset will not be implied to this kind of dataset. So we have to again learn, or we have to drop this concept. We have to drop this concept and we have to learn this new concept for accurate result. Similarly, for gradual drift, as you can see that if we can divide this all dataset into some windows, you will see that we are having some concept in blue color and one concept in red color. Similarly, as we are moving forward, we are having some concept in blue color and more concept in red color. And similarly, we are moving again forward. We are finding that all the concept has been changed to red color. So this kind of drift is gradual drift. Another kind of drift is incremental drift. As I've already explained that here you can see that class are changing, but it is changing with the intermediate effects. From blue to red, it is changing from one class to another class with some intermediate effects. We are not suddenly or gradually moving to the new class. And in reoccurring, you can easily observe that this pattern is repeating itself after some time. I'm audible, Manish sir? I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
My screen is visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible, sir.
Thank you. So we can classify the drift into original drift or virtual drift. So in this diagram, you can easily observe that we are having original data distribution in which we are having two class. One is in red class and other is in green class. And there is a clear-cut separation boundary with the dotted line. This is the clear-cut separation boundary which is classifying these two data set. Okay, so this is the original data, and this line is the decision boundary which is used to separate these two data. One is in red color and another is in green color. So what is the when we say that real kind of drift occurs? So in this diagram, if you see, we are having the data distribution changes. For red color, we are having different distribution as the previous original data. Similarly, we are having this green color with the different distribution. But as you can see, the decision boundaries also get changed. This is the decision boundary. This is the decision boundary, which is also get changed. Earlier we are having this as a decision boundary. Now we are having this as a decision boundary. So whenever the decision boundary also get changed with the change in the data distribution, then only we can say that this kind of drift is the real concept drift. But what will happen with the virtual concept drift? We are again having change in the data distribution, but our original decision boundary, this is the original decision boundary, this is able to classify these two data. So we are not changing the decision boundary. So this kind of drift is the virtual drift. So this example is very well explained that what is the difference between real concept drift and virtual concept drift. In virtual concept drift, we don't need to change the decision boundary, but for real concept drift, we have to change the decision boundary. So these are the major sources of data stream in the real world. Like we can have data, textual data from social media, or from or video, or we can have text from social media, which are also data streams, and they are also have some concept drift in them. And we are very much aware of IoT sensors. They are also real-time data stream generator, and again we are having some concept drift in IoT sensors. So we can't have our conventional approach to classify this kind of data stream. Like we can't apply directly those machine learning algorithms like SVM and NV directly to classify such kind of data stream. Another example is stock exchange. This is also a very prominent source of data streams. So again, in the stock exchange also we have admitted some concept drifts. These are the some applications of data stream mining in the presence of concept drift. So first belongs to monitoring and control, like against adversaries. For management, we are having computer security, telecommunication, in which we are having intrusion detection and fraud. Similarly, we are having finance. In finance, we are having fraud and insider trading. We are having, for management, we are having transportation management, positioning, industrial monitoring, in which we can have in transportation we can have traffic management, we can have place activity recognition, boiler control. For industrial monitoring, we can have boiler control or telecom monitoring. Similarly, we are having some assistance and information kind of applications, in which we are having personal assistance, customer profiling and information. In personal assistance, we can have textual information. In textual information, we can have various kind of application like news classification, document classification, and spam categorization. I hope so. You are having some kind of discussion already for text classification earlier in this FDP. Similarly, we are having some web-based application like web personalization and libraries and media. For customer profiling, we are very much aware of this thing. Like we are having marketing and recommender system for customer segmentation and movie recommendation. Similarly, for information, we are having document organization, like we are having document organization in for digital media as well as for library. So in document organization, we can have articles and mails, and economics, we can have micro economics and forecasting. We are having project management and software project management, in which in this category. Similarly, we are having a new application like decision making. In decision making, we are having finance and biomedicine and security. In biomedicine, we are having drug research, clinical research, and in security, we are having authentication. So in clinical research, we can have disease monitoring. So these are the application. And one more important application is AI and robotics. In AI and robotics, we are having mobile system and intelligence system and virtual reality. In mobile system, we can have like robots and vehicles. In intelligence system, we can have smart home appliances, and in virtual reality, we can have gaming and other kind of simulation. So what we are expected by online system which are trying to handle the concept drift. So first of all, suppose we are having a graph y and x. Here we are having the number of instances, and here we are having accuracy. So if we move in this direction, that is we are moving with the with our instances, with our examples in x direction, and suppose the accuracy of the system going like this. Suppose this is the 100% accuracy. So what we will have some increase in accuracy as we move from origin to some extreme point data set. So you can see that we are increasing in accuracy from as we are moving from origin to some extreme point in the x direction. But we can have a situation where we are having, if we are having the data stream with concept drift, so we can have some situation, suppose at this point some concept drift occurs. So if the concept drift occur at this point, the accuracy at this point will drop suddenly. So here you can see that the accuracy has been dropped with some significant amount. So what we have to do, we have to manage our system as much as stable with the maximum accuracy. What does it means? That as we are moving from origin to this extreme x side, we are increasing in the accuracy, and suddenly concept drift occurs, and at the happening of the concept drift, the accuracy drops suddenly. And again, as we are moving further, then we are retaining to the accuracy. So the average accuracy of this complete system will be the average accuracy, which also include this point. So it will drop the average accuracy of the system. So what we have to do, we have to attain the maximum accuracy whenever the concept is stable. So what does this point means? That we should have to have maximize the accuracy whenever the concept is stable. So another point is that minimize the drop in the accuracy, that this drop we have to minimize. Anyhow, we have to have this minimize this drop so that the average accuracy will not be affected by this concept drift significantly. And we should also have some quick recovery from the concept drift, as the when we are having concept drift, we will face a drop in the accuracy. So we want to have a quick recovery from the this kind of drop. Similarly, efficient use of information previously learned whenever it is beneficial. So we have to use our previously learned concept for our benefit, so that we can have good accuracy throughout the learning and prediction. So again, these I have already explained that we are having 4 approaches: classical signal classifier approach, explicit detection methods, window based method, and ensemble based methods. So classical in the classical single classifier approach, we are very much aware that we are having naive Bayesian as a traditional classifier. We are having SPM as a traditional classifier. There is nothing to explain for these two classifiers. This is very much, these classifiers are very basic classifier in classical machine learning. So this naive Bayesian is obviously based on the conditional probability, and SVM is based on the maximum hyperplane decision boundary. So both are good for static concept where the concept doesn't occur in the system. Then it is good to use such kind of classical approach. But whenever the concept drift will occur, then this kind of algorithm will not be more appropriate for the data stream mining. So what is the explicit drift detection method? So in explicit drift detection method, we are this is again a very basic architecture for explicit drift detection method, in which we are having we have utilized an exclusive drift detection method for detecting the drift. So we are having the data set, we are having the training and learning mechanism, we are doing the prediction, and we are having a segment for concept drift detection. So for concept drift detection, we have to identify whether the concept has been drifted or not. If the concept drift is occurred, then there must be some kind of alarming by the system, by this module, to make us aware that the concept drift has been occurred, and we have to take some subsequent action to manage such kind of drift, so that our accuracy will not fall very to some extent. So so after detecting the drift, we have to understand the drift, what is the drift all about, and we have to apply some concept drift adaptation method whenever we realize that concept drift has been occurred. So there are some popular algorithms which are basically moving average based algorithm. Most of the concept drift detection based algorithm are based on the moving average algorithm. So in these algorithm we just monitor the accuracy of the system, and whenever the accuracy of the system drops significantly, then we admit that concept drift has been occurred. So whenever concept drift is occurred, we have to tell the system, tell the learner that the concept drift has occurred. We have to take some subsequent action to manage this concept drift. There are various ways by which we can manage this concept drift in the drift detection method. So most properly used algorithm for drift detection methods are DDM, that is drift detection method, early drift detection method, step D, and EWMA. So these are the four. I'm not going within inside this algorithm, but these are the most commonly used drift detection methods used for data stream mining. So as far as drift detection method is considered, so there is some limitation of drift detection method, like it may suffer from false alarm. It is not good for all kind of drift and comparatively slow. So this is also very important that all drift detection method should be fast enough, because if we are admitting the drift at very late, then we will have significant amount of accuracy drop in our system. So our drift detection method should be fast enough in order to identify the drift. So another kind of drift detection method is EDDM, that is early drift detection method. It is also suffering from false alarming. False alarming means that it may be happen that drift is not occurred, but our alarm is showing that drift has been occurred. So we have to be very careful that that the system should not generate the false alarm. It should be very accurate in generating the alarm that drift has been occurred. So again, it is not good for all kind of drift. We are looking for some algorithm which are good for all kind of drift. Another approach is step D, in which it is not taking advantage of recurrent drift, as well as approaches are very sensitive to false alarm. Drift are not always continuously monitored. So this is the problem with step D. Another approach is window-based method. This is generalized algorithm of window-based method. In the window-based method, you can see that we are having a data stream S with a window of fixed instances. We are having a classifier trained on W, that is on the window we have trained a classifier C, which is we initialize the sliding window W, and for each instance we have to incorporate the instance with the window. Here, as you can see, that W goes to W union Xi, and we have to drop the outdated concept. So all the concepts which are not lying within the window should be dropped, will be dropped automatically in window-based method. So in that way, we are anyhow tries to manage the trade-off between the memory requirement of the window-based system as well as with the accuracy of the window-based system. So these are the algorithms of some popular algorithm of window-based system, like weighted window-based system. We are having admin. Admin is very popular algorithm that has been developed by Albert Buffett, and we are having another algorithm Fish. I am not going into detail of this algorithm. So another very prominent approach for dealing with the data stream mining is the ensemble method. In the ensemble method, as I have already explained, that we are having several weak learners, and we are combining these learners to make some strong decision. So in ensemble approach, we are having some, and this is also very important to maintain the diversity among the classifier. What is the diversity is all about? So diversity is that if suppose we are having 10 component classifier in the ensemble method, so all should be diverse from each other. Like all should be, it is better to have all classifier complementing to each other, so that if one classifier is not able to classify one concept properly, then other classifier will be able to classify the concept, classify the newly arrived instance accurately. So this is the basic algorithm of ensemble methods. We are having S, which is representing set of ensemble classifier, and N is the number of classifier present in the ensemble S, and E is the ensemble of the classifier, and we are having k classifiers in the ensemble. For all classifiers in the ensemble, do assign a weight to each example in S to create weight distributed DM. So what we are trying to do, we are assigning a weight, as you can see in this formula, we are assigning weight to all the classifiers, so that whenever they all will make the decision on some unseen instance, we have to give the weightage to some classifier. Uniform, we can also give uniform weightage to all the classifier, but by using some advanced algorithm, we can give like different weight to all the classifier to do the classification. These are some ensemble architecture which are very popular. Like this is the flat architecture in which we are having the data sets and the learner, and all are taking data from the data sets, and they are merging the data and producing some result after the classification. Another architecture is meta learner, in which we are having two level of data set, in which we are having the circle as in classifier, and we are having merger at the last of the classifier. We are also having hierarchical classifier, in which we are having the instances at the bottom, and we are having some architecture with the classifier component, which all combining to make a unique decision. Similarly, we are having some network architecture, in which we are having some topological order of the this thing classifiers, and which by combining these two these orders, we are having some unique decision making for the machine, for the ensemble. So most popular algorithm we used in the ensemble is the bagging. So bagging is very much popular algorithm, in which we are having the data set separated, all the data sets separated, and all the component classifier learn on the different data set with the replacement or without replacement. Another is like bootstrap with the replacement, that is boosting, which is again in which we are having the same concept of bagging, but in which in this we are learning only if the some wrong decision has been made for some previously unseen instances. So we are increasing the probability of those instances which has been classified wrongly in the previous selection. Another algorithm is accuracy weighted ensemble. In the accuracy weighted ensemble, what we are having all the component classifier in the ensemble weighted with the accuracy of the component classifier. So suppose we are having 10 component classifier in the ensemble, so we are assigning weight to all the component classifier based on their accuracy. So in this, those classifier which are having very good accuracy will have the larger weight as compared to those classifiers which are having low accuracy. Another very important kind of algorithm is Hopf-Ending tree, Hopf-Ending option tree, which is extended version of Hopf-Ending tree. So in Hopf-Ending option tree, it is a window-based method in which we are assigning weight to the classifier according to the structure of the classifier. So another algorithm is OZA and AUE. So AUE is also like similar to that, accuracy weighted ensemble. Here we are having accuracy of weighted ensemble AUE, which is basically in AUE we are updating the weight of the component classifier depending on the increase in the accuracy of the component classifier. So what we need with the algorithm which are able to classify data stream with the which is having concept drift in the data. So what we need uniform performance for every type of drift. So what algorithm we are going to use should have uniform performance for every type of drift. That is, we don't want to be like any algorithm which should be best suited for only recurring drift or we don't want any algorithm which should be best suited for incremental drift or sudden drift or gradual drift. We want an algorithm which is best suited for all types of algorithm. So such kind of algorithm we need for data stream mining in the presence of concept drift. And we should have to have a consideration on the locality of the reference. Locality of the reference can be spatial locality or temporal locality. Like whenever we used to drop any concept from the data stream which we have learned, or we want to drop any outdated concept from the data stream which have been learned from the data stream. In that case, we have to be consider the temporal or spatial locality of the data set. For example, if we are having some data, like we are having rain at say Ghaziabad, then it is most probable that we should also have rain in Delhi. So in that case, if we are having a class C1 data in just recent instances, then we are also expecting that the new instance will also belongs to class C1. So this is what is called as locality of reference. And another point which should that is we should consider the accuracy for determining weight of the component classifier in the ensemble based method. So if we are using the ensemble based method, we have to give weight to the component classifier based on the accuracy of the component classifier. It is very important, because we have seen that in many results we have seen that giving the component classifier weight based on their accuracy is increasing the performance of the ensemble method. Another is necessity of the new performance measure. So all the existing performance measure, like that we are having precision and recall and accuracy, average accuracy, these are not suited with the data stream mining approach. So we need some new performance measure by which we can measure the performance of different algorithm which is performing better and which are performing suppressively. These are list of some standard data set. List of so we can classify the data set into two categories, like synthetic data and real world data. So these are very commonly used data set. If you want to do experiment on MOA, then you can use these kind of data set. So first is stagger, in which the number custom means we have to give the like input to the system that how much instances we want, and it is having 3 attributes and 2 classes, and the type of the drift with the stagger is sudden. Similarly, we are having C, that is streaming ensemble algorithm. It is also having custom instances. Custom instances means we are generating the data by the help of some generator, like we are having generators in MOA. So we can fix this custom into like 1 million or 10 million, whatever we want to have for our experiment. So we can fix it. So it is also having 3 instances and 2 classes. It is also belongs to certain kind of drift. Another example is rotating hyperplane, which is a custom. Again, we can set this custom to some fixed range, and it is having 10 attribute and 2 classes. It belongs to gradual and incremental drift. Another is random radial basis function, that is random RBF, which is we can set the number of attributes and the classes by the generator itself only, and it belongs to sudden and gradual and incremental drift. Another kind of example, synthetic data set example is random tree, which is also we can also fix the attribute and classes by our own self, and it belongs to sudden and recurring kind of drift. Another example is LED, that is light emitting diode. So it is having 24 attributes and 10 classes. It belongs to certain kind of drift. Waveform, sine, circle, and rotating hyperplane chessboard. These are the another example of this thing, synthetic data set, and we can easily generate these kind of data set by using any tool like massive online analysis MOA, which is extended version of VICA. I will show some example on MOA type permits. So here are some example of real world data set which generally used for doing experiments on data stream mining while evaluating the learning algorithms. So airline data set, which is having like 5 lakh of instances and 7 attribute and 2 classes. Similarly, forest cover type, that is cover type. Forest cover type is also having like 5 lakh instances with 54 attributes and 7 classes. Electricity data, which is also very popular data, but it is having very less number of instances. So this is very important to select those data set which are having a large number of instances as far as experiments uh, doing experiments on data stream mining is concerned. So we can use like airline data, we can use cover type data, we can use poker hand data, and we can also use sensor data for observing our algorithm which we have designed for dealing with data stream mining in the presence of concept drift. So as far as performance matrices of the algorithm of the data stream mining in the presence of concept drifts are concerned, so we are having this kind of diagram for measuring the performance, not like precision and recall. So here we are having number of instances, and here we are having the performance measure. So just give me a break.
Hello, Ritesh sir.
Yes, yes, just give me, just give me. My screen is visible.
Yeah, your screen is visible, sir.
So runtime performance, while measuring the performance of the classifier in concept drift data stream environment, instead of only considering on the overall performance measure of the classifier model, the runtime performance evaluation is of more interest, because we want to understand what is going inside the data, whether the concept drift is occurring or not. If the concept drift is occurring, then there should be a gradual drop in the data set, in the accuracy of the data. So we want to know what is going inside the data. So instead of having average accuracy, average memory utilization, or average any other average performance, we are just looking into the runtime performance measure of the this performance evaluation measures. So as you can see that we are having number of instances moving in X direction, and the performance measure is moving in Y direction, and these are the average accuracy chunk wise. Chunk wise, I mean to say that we have to like measure the accuracy into chunk. Like this is a chunk, again this is a chunk, and all chunk are having 10 instances, 10 instances, 10 instances, 10 instances. Suppose in out of 10 instances we are having 5 correct prediction, again we are having 6 correct prediction, and suppose we are having 7 correct prediction. So in that way we are having 50% of accuracy for first chunk, 60% accuracy for second chunk, and 70% accuracy for third chunk, and so on. So in this, if we are having another chunk where we are having say only 10% accuracy, 10% accuracy, then we will say that something went wrong over there. Something is happened there, like concept drift may have occurred, due to which this accuracy dropped significantly here. So we need some such kind of measure in which we can observe the data inside, not only the average measures. These are the like classical performance measure which you all know very well, that we are having true sensitivity, in which is true positive instance divided by positive instances. We are having true positive instances divided by true positive plus false negative, and specificity, that is true negative divided by negative instances, or true negative divided by true negative plus false positive. Another measure is G mean, in which we are having geometric mean of the classifier is used to compute the mean of the specificity and sensitivity of the classifier. The G mean is commonly used for class imbalance data stream. Next, we are having kappa statics, which is also very popular nowadays. In kappa statics, we are having P naught, which is the probability that is random classifier makes the correct prediction, and PC is the probability of the classification prediction of the current classifier. Similarly, we are having ROC curve, or which is also termed as AUC. But this ROC or AUC we can't use in this data stream mining for evaluating the data stream mining algorithm, because this is this is iterative approach. So we can't have iterative approach, as we know that we are using only single pass learning for data stream mining. So very important is frequential accuracy. In the frequential accuracy, as I have told you earlier, that we are having some chunks. We are having some chunks, and we are having accuracy for all the chunks. Say 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. So in that way, we can draw this thing like this. So here we are moving the number of instances, and accuracy is going in this direction. So another performance measure which are not related to the accuracy for data stream mining, like memory requirement, update and rebuild time, and classification time. So memory requirement, you all know that what is the memory required to have all the concept in the memory, and what memory is required to do the classification and learn the complete concept. Similarly, we are having a update and rebuild time. So how much time it is required by the algorithm to rebuild itself whenever concept drift occur, how much time it requires to rebuild itself. Rebuild itself means like if the accuracy drop occurs due to some concept drift, so how much time the algorithm will take to cope up from that concept drift, loss in the accuracy due to that concept drift. Similarly, we are having classification time, which is a general performance measure. Like it should be very less. Classification time should be very less as compared to all conventional algorithm. We should have very less classification time. It should not be enough. The basic another learning performance measures are holdout, and way of learning is holdout and k-fold cross validation. In hold, both of these two we can't use in data stream mining. In holdout, we just divide the data set, which is this is very popular method of machine learning, that we divide our data set into two parts. One is training set and one is test data, and we do the learning on the training data and do the testing on the test data. Similarly, in the k-fold cross validation, we just divide the data into k sample set, and we just do the training on the k minus 1th instances part of the data, and we do testing on the rest of the data. So both are like not suited for data stream mining, because both are based on some incremental learning. So what is suited is the interleave test and train method. In interleave test and train method, we do the training of the classifier on some instances, and we first test the incoming new instance on the trained system. If the system will do wrong prediction, then only we can learn for new instances. Otherwise, we don't do learning for the new instances if the classification is true. So it is like it is kind of incremental learning, in which we do the learning only if the classifier do wrong prediction. So these are the performance measures which are based on the based on the probability based on the drift detection method. So the first is probability of true change detection. So like if we are having drift detection method for our data stream mining algorithm, so we have to find out the probability of true change detection. That is, what is the probability that the change the system has detected is true. If it is like having higher probability, then the drift detection method is good. Otherwise, it should require some modification. Similarly, the what is the probability of false alarm? Like false alarm, as I have already told that suppose alarm is generated for non-happening of the drift. So in that case, such kind of alarm is called as false alarm. And what is the probability of the false alarm? It is also a performance measure used in the drift detection methods. Another performance measure is the delay in or time log of detection. So time lag in detection. Delay in the time detection is very crucial, because if the delay in the detection time is very high, drift detection is very high, then our algorithm will not give the result in the real time. So for real time application, such kind of delay should be minimized. Similarly, we are having detection point accuracy. That is the point which we have detected as in concept drift should have how much it is nearer to the accurate detection. So the accuracy of change localization is important in addition to the delay in detection. So here I am just presenting some experimental result on explicit drift detection method for data stream mining. So explicit drift detection methods, as I have already explained, that we are having a separate module for drift detection and we are having a separate module for classification. First we will do the drift detection and then we do the classification. So the efficacy of various drift detection methods on some important characteristic measures of the drift detection methods like drift detection delay and false alarm etc. The performance evaluation various combination of drift detection methods with some well-known best existing algorithm I will present this thing. So I have just taken two example, two data set. One is forest cover data set and another is poker hand data set. In forest cover data set, we are having 54 attributes. In poker hand, we are having 10 attributes, and like 5.8 lakh instances are there with the forest cover and 1 million instances with the poker hand. And there are like 7 number of classes is present with the forest cover and 10 with the poker hand. So what we have find out here, we have identified the best combination which will suit with the conventional methods. So here is the example of some basic algorithm with some drift detection methods. So these are the basic algorithm and these are the drift detection methods. So first we have applied this thing to the forest cover. So for NB and DDM combination, we have received the accuracy of 88% and the average training time we have received 18.97%. With NB and EDDM combination, we have received the accuracy of 57%, 85.92 accuracy with the average training time of 16.70 seconds, 70 seconds, sorry. And another we have used this combination NB and QSIM, in which we are having 81.53% accuracy and 18.47 time required to for the classification. Similarly, we are having these combinations with LR and the same combination with SVM and the same combination with HT. The same experiment we have performed with poker hand dataset. The same combination we have used with NB, LR and SVM and HT. And we are having these statistics we have observed from by doing the experiments. So these are the runtime analysis of our experiment. As you can see, for NB and HT, the accuracy of all the data, all the algorithms are quite consistent. All the drift detection methods is quite consistent. Whereas for SVM and LR, we are having the accuracy which are not quite consistent, because you can see that there is so much jerking from 0 to 100 accuracy. So what we can observe from these four diagrams that ST and NB are quite consistent as compared to SVM and LR for forest cover dataset. Similarly, we can see that for poker hand dataset, all three data, all four experiments showing that they are not quite consistent. They all are having drifts in the data sets, in the accuracy. So we can observe that this data set is not properly classified by using drift detection method as well for all the four cases like NB, ST, and SVM and LR. So here you can see that that we have one combination of Naive Bayesian with EWMA, which gives best accuracy of 90.14%, and the worst LR and EDDM combination showing the worst accuracy with the accuracy of 26.8%. So here you can see that 26.8% accuracy is given by this combination, that is EDDM and LR, and the best accuracy is given by NB and EWMA. So this is the same diagram. So which is the preferred combination? So the ST and LR, NB are the best performers as compared to SVM and LR, which are showing an average accuracy of 81.68% and 80.23% respectively. So ST and LR, NB are the best performer as compared to SPM. Best combination we have identified among these drift detection methods. So learning time, as you can see that the highest learning time is taken by QSIM and SVM here. So drift detection method is QSIM and cumulative sum, and the learning method is SVM. So highest time is taken by this method, and the least time is taken by NB and step D combination. So another example in which we can I will demonstrate you that how the drift is affecting to the accuracy of the classifier in the runtime. For this, what I have done, I have taken light emitting diode generator and I have experimented this thing on MOA, and after 1 lakh instance I have introduced a noise, or we can say that I have introduced a drift after 1000 instance. So 1 lakh instance. So here you can see that this the total number of instances are 1 million. This is 1 million instance, and there is a drift occurred at 1 lakh instance at this point. Everywhere you can see that a drift has been introduced at 1k point, 100k point, that is 1 lakh instance. So if we are classifying this data with simple Naive Bayesian single classifier approach, you can see that the drop in the accuracy is very high. This is from 74.2% to 44.5%. Whereas if we see that if we are using a drift detection method with NB, so here we can see that the drop is there at this point. This drop is there, but this is not very high as compared to this one. Similarly, if we see that AWE, that is average accuracy weighted ensemble, here again we are having some less drop as compared to this first one, and similarly we are having ADWIN, in which also we are having some less drop as compared to this one. But as you can see that the accuracy drop of 29.7% from 74.2% to 44.5%. in this case 74.2% to 44.5%. Here the accuracy drop is 74.2% to 67.3%. Similarly, we are having accuracy drop of 74.3% to 66.6%, and we are having accuracy drop of 75% to 77.3%. So you can see that minimum accuracy drop is with AW, that is a ensemble based approach. Manish sir? Hello, I'm audible?
Yes.
And this is all
Yeah.
about from my side, Manish sir.
Okay. Participant, you want to ask any question, then you can ask. Okay, sir. We will send you. Okay. Sir, we will send you the questions and you will answer by the mail. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I, Manish Kumar Sharma, on behalf of Department of IT, ABS Engineering College, Ghaziabad, a very hearty vote of thanks to Dr. Ritesh Srivastava for gracing the event with your presence and sharing with us your finding and opinion about data mining. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, Dr. Ritesh, sir.
Thank you, Manish.
Please fill the feedback form. The link is shared in the chat box window. Thank you all. Now you can leave. After filling the feedback, you can leave.
जो है सारा
Dear all, session is over. Please fill the feedback form. I am also sharing it on the WhatsApp group. Those who cannot see the chat box, he can fill from it.
हमारी फाइल ही नहीं है भैया जो मर्जी कर लो एनडी पे बताना तो है आईटीएल 5677 ठीक है अब बार गए अब ये परिवार चाहिए 15
I am again sharing the feedback link. Please see it.
उसकी लिस्ट दे दो यार उसे आपके लिए करना एज भी आपको मेरे को डाल दीजिए तो 600 कर दो
After filling the feedback form, you can leave.
अच्छा वो वाला पूछ लो कौन हो गए
Okay, now I am going to end the meeting. Thank you all.